With the Battlefield 6 multiplayer beta out, we can say that people really are enjoying the game. We love Battlefield, but there has been a ton of negative reviews and controversies from the past couple games in the franchise. Yes, we are looking forward to Battlefield 6, but what if you are looking for a Battlefield-style experience right now and don't want to play the most recent Battlefield games? In this video, we will show you 10 games that might scratch that Battlefield itch. Keep in mind that there are only a couple that are actually like Battlefield. Each one will check off some of the boxes for what you are looking for in a game like Battlefield. The Finals is one of those games that was released at a bad time. We played the betas for the game years ago and enjoyed it a lot. It has some of the best destruction in a video game since Battlefield 4. The game was made by ex-DICE developers, and if you didn't know, DICE are the creators of Battlefield. The game is more of an arcade shooter though, so it is not exactly like a Battlefield game. You fight two other teams of 3 in a small, fully destructible map over cash boxes. It is up to you and your team to get the cash and bring it to a bank by any means necessary. It is honestly a super fun experience. There is cross-play as well, so you can play with console players. It did launch poorly, but that is because it launched side by side with Call of Duty's Season 1 update, so fewer people played it. There are still a ton of players in the game, so don't worry about player count. If you want a free-to-play game with destruction that is better than Battlefield, then go try this game out. Chivalry 2 is probably a game you didn't expect to see on a list like this. Yes, it is mostly melee-based, but it gives you that same feeling of being in a large-scale battle. The combat is also very different though, because you need to use positioning and angles of the weapons to outsmart your enemies. You use your mouse or controller to swing your weapons at specific angles to defeat your opponent. There are also archer classes that allow you to stay back and pick off enemies at a distance, so if you don't enjoy the melee all that much, there are other alternatives. It is one of those games that if you get good at the combat, it is extremely satisfying. The battles are 64 players, and there are also bots in the mix as well, depending on what servers you join. It is also a really fun game to go into a private lobby with your friends and 1 versus 1 them. If you enjoy large-scale medieval battles, then you will absolutely love this game, though it is not free. Ravenfield is a Battlefield-like game with low poly graphics, but the only downside to it is that it is single-player. There is a multiplayer mod created by the community on Steam, but it has mixed reviews and it isn't perfect. Other than that, this game is built exactly like Battlefield. It also has endless replayability since the Steam Workshop is keeping the game alive. It is decently optimized and it allows for full customization. You can add as many troops to the battle as you want as long as your computer can handle it. The game is also extremely cheap, but as we said before, the game is only single player. The game also has a ton of other aspects like being able to tell your squad what to do and where to go. There are also mods to customize the weapons in the game. You can add camos, attachments, and all sorts of clothing on your soldiers. It is a very cool game to mess around in, so if you enjoy sandbox experiences like this, then you will really enjoy it. Rising Storm 2, Vietnam is a massive military first-person shooter that puts you in Vietnam. The game has had a ton of updates since launch and has a ton of content added. It is a good mix of military simulator and arcade shooter, and has a really great community of players. It is a smaller community, but there are a good amount of people still playing the game. There are also over 20 maps in the game, which is insane, and the maps are huge. The rounds last a bit longer than your usual Battlefield match, but it gives you that FPS experience you are looking for. The game came out in 2017, but it is a very fun FPS. There isn't destruction like in Battlefield, but it has a really cool atmosphere to it. Our only grips is the high number of DLCs that you need to buy to get the full experience. Other than that, it is a great game. Squad is one of those games that you can do whatever you want. It is mainly a military simulator like Arma, but it has just as much customization. The most we played of the game is the Galactic Contention mod. This is basically Star Wars Battlefront in milsim form, which is amazing. Other than that, there are 50 versus 50 player conquest modes similar to Battlefield. Yes, it doesn't have the destruction of a Battlefield game, but it has some insanely fun gunplay. The in-game voice chat is also amazing and it leads to some really funny interactions. If you enjoy Arma and Battlefield, it is literally just a mix of the two together. Plus, there are also a ton of other mods and servers to join. It is a bit more expensive than the other games on this list, but it is definitely worth it, especially with friends. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is always going to be a fun game to us. As huge Star Wars fans, it is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. It just sucks that they stopped updating the game. Yes, it is made by the same team that made Battlefield, but it isn't a Battlefield IP, so it can go on this list. It is extremely optimized, it looks incredible, and the gameplay is amazing. You don't even need to be a fan of Star Wars to enjoy it. There is no destruction, but it is super fun, especially with all the maps, heroes, classes, and weapons they added since launch. It just sucks that they aren't going to do anything else with the game. It is almost always on sale and you can get the game for less than $10 US. It doesn't have crossplay, but each of the different platforms have a ton of people playing on them. Let's hope that EA does something with the game, or even make a Battlefront 3 that will be a great sequel. Insurgency Sandstorm is a pretty difficult first-person shooter. If you have ever played hardcore in Call of Duty, then this game is basically that. There is no HUD, you can't see your health, and your magazines don't magically refill. You have a certain number of magazines with ammo in them, and you need to conserve each of them. Your best bet is to empty each one so you don't load a magazine with a few bullets left. It is a very fun shooter though. It takes you all over the world to a ton of well-made maps. The matches aren't as large as a Battlefield match, but it still gives you that feeling of scale. It is all infantry, so no vehicles, but you don't need vehicles to make it feel like Battlefield. The customization is amazing, and there are a ton of weapons to choose from. You also have access to all weapons and attachments right away, so you can start experimenting as soon as you boot up the game. If you enjoy hardcore experiences, then this one is definitely for you. Hell Let Loose is a military simulator with large-scale battles. The only negative we see in the community is that you need to run far distances to get to places. This is because the maps are absolutely massive. And you know what else is massive? It also has a ton of players, with the matches being 50 versus 50. It is also very hardcore since there is barely any HUD and there are over 14 different classes and roles to play. It is up to you to figure out how you use your role in each match. It also has a really cool mechanic where each of the capture points will be different each match, so it always feels different every match. You will need to adapt to the changes, which makes the game unique. The gunplay is also extremely satisfying. If you enjoy milsims and hardcore experiences, then this game is definitely worth it. BattleBit Remastered is one of the best Battlefield clones out there, though right now the developers haven't updated the game, so let's hope that they start that up again. Other than that, the community is amazing in this game. The in-game voice chat makes the experience a million times better. There are people screaming, giving orders, and genuinely having a good time. The graphics remind us of Roblox, but it is a peak FPS experience if you have played it before. There is a ton of customization, and you can do pretty much everything just like in a Battlefield game. It has some really good destruction as well if you are looking for that. It is the perfect Battlefield experience without it having the Battlefield name. It is also a great game to play with friends. There are also quite a few people still playing it, so take advantage of that now. Delta Force is probably the closest thing you can get to Battlefield. It is also free to play, which makes it easy to get into since you don't need to pay a dime. It reminds us a lot of Battlefield 2042, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it does a bunch of stuff better. There are operators, but they are basically the classes, and each class has different weapons to choose from. The 64-player mode is definitely our favorite. The gunplay is very satisfying, and the graphics are amazing. There is also an extraction mode and a campaign mode that are also both free. It is insane that this much content that would normally be paid is just there for you. Do keep in mind that the game is a Chinese game, so there are gacha and gambling elements for the store, but you can avoid this by just not paying into it. The paid elements of the game suck, but we can look past it since they give you so many modes entirely for free. Let us know if you are looking forward to Battlefield 6 in the comments. You can also let us know if you found a game from this list that you started to play. Make sure to check out our gaming merch on our website that is based on games we enjoy playing. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Also consider subscribing if you enjoy our content. All links are in the description, and thanks for watching.